First, let me thank you all for attending today's press conference on the issue of human trafficking and the sex trade that has now entered Palm Beach County. Today, we have 3 women, 2 men, and myself who will speak. And at the end, I will close with a prepared statement on an action plan that we have to combat this growing epidemic. This is something that has just recently come to the attention of leadership in the community. And as I said, we have already begun to formulate an action plan whereby we can inform, and make aware to the people who can disseminate this information, not only here in Palm Beach County, but also across the state, and also to many of the nations that are being affected by this terrible ordeal. I'd like to first introduce our first speaker, Ms. April Camacho. She's going to speak first.
My name is April Camacho. I'm a daughter, mother, grandmother, and preschool administrator. I'm speaking on behalf of Women Against Exploiting Women, and we are calling on Governor Charlie Crist to appoint a special prosecutor to look into the action, or should I say lack of action, taken by the State Division of Alcohol, Beverages, and Tobacco. On August 28, 2010, the Palm Beach Post published a series of articles on human trafficking and sex slavery taking place right here in Palm Beach County. According to the story, 2 owners and operators were allowed to obtain liquor licenses for establishments that engage in bringing young women illegally from Latin America and peddling them as dancers, selling alcohol, and ultimately selling them as sex slaves to their patrons. According to the story and a number of documents uncovered by reporters, convicted felons were allowed to operate businesses and receive liquor licenses. It appears that although both felons submitted relatives as owners in the application process, documents show that in fact they were just in name only, while known felons convicted of fraud and conspiracy were the ones who owned and operated these nightclubs. Governor Crist, we implore you to consider opening up an investigation and allow a special prosecutor to see why it was easy for reporters to find information on the real club owners, while the staff of the State Division of Alcohol, Beverages, and Tobacco failed to do their jobs adequately and ultimately approve liquor licenses to all these clubs engaging in human trafficking and sex slavery. The law is clear, and we cannot allow convicted felons to obtain liquor licenses. Governor Crist, we need to make sure that the Florida State Division of Alcohol, Beverages, and Tobacco does their job and does it well. We cannot let human trafficking run wild in Palm Beach County. It is time for our independent prosecutor to look into this matter. Thank you.
Now I would like to introduce Reverend Roxanne Carter to make a few statements, please.
Hi, my name is Roxanne Carter, and I am speaking on behalf of Women Against Exploited Women. We are also calling upon the Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick L. Bradshaw to conduct an investigation into these alarming incidences that have been taking place. According to the Palm Beach Post, the Sheriff's Office received as much as $1,428 per week for off-duty deputies to serve as crowd control at these nightclubs suspected of prostitution and human trafficking and sex slavery. We would like the Sheriff's Office to consider changing the policy and providing crowd control to establishments with such horrible reputations. This particular nightclub reportedly received 303 phone calls in 2009. This business should have been shut down and should not have received crowd control protection or assistance from the Sheriff's Department. We know that these are tough economic times, but we should not allow nightclub owners that are convicted felons and businesses that are suspected of human trafficking and sex slavery to pay any county agent for services rendered. The fact that the Sheriff's Department, which is responsible to protect our community, is involved in a situation is extremely troubling. We believe that Mr. Bradshaw has done a good job as our sheriff. We are imploring him and his office to investigate this matter and to take appropriate action to cease assisting such disreputable organizations and investigate and prosecute any business owner, or county employee engaged in inappropriate and illegal conduct. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Ms. Andrea Brown. Andrea? Ed, do you want to go first? Okay, I'm going to have her husband, Ed, if he would. Ed Brown is going to speak before his wife. Okay. Ed, please.
Okay, thank you. My name is Edward Brown, and I'm speaking on behalf of women against the exploiting of women today. We are calling on the Palm Beach County Inspector General, Cheryl Steckler, to conduct an investigation into the alarming incidents of human trafficking and prostitution in our community. According to the Palm Beach Post, a nightclub involved in human trafficking and sex slavery had a combined 303 incidents in 2009. That's almost one complaint per day. Furthermore, the owner hired off-duty Palm Beach County Sheriff deputies for crowd control and paid the sheriff's office as much as $1,428 per week. According to the Palm Beach Post, one deputy stationed outside the nightclub reported seeing women wearing skimpy clothing leaving the nightclub with men into the parking lot. These women then later returned to the nightclub alone a short while later. As concerned citizens, we want to know why these incidences are not being reported to the appropriate authorities and dealt with accordingly. We need the Inspector General to conduct an impartial investigation and see if county employees or agencies are engaged in fraud, mismanagement, misconduct, or any other abuse in connection with these nightclubs. Thank you for your attention and concern in this matter.
And now I will ask Ms. Andrea Brown, Ed's wife, if she would please come up and share what she has prepared. Andrea.
It is said that you can tell the condition of a nation by looking at the status and the treatment of their women. God did not call us here to solve the world's entire problems, but He did call us to be a voice and to be an arm outstretched. I stand here filled with compassion for those women and children who are being trafficked. They are the most vulnerable group of all the world. I stand here speaking as a voice, representing women of all races, of all ages, and of all generations, both present, past, and future. The evidence of this plight that has taken root in our society here in Palm Beach County, has saddened me to the core. Some of these women suffer from hunger and poverty in great numbers in their own country. At the same time, they often bear the responsibility for action of health, of caretakers, and feeding entire large families. The hope for a better opportunity was what they came to Palm Beach County for. But instead, what did some of our citizens of this county offer them? I plead with you to establish stricter laws against trafficking and against the people who perpetrate these actions. If you would just exchange shoes with these women and children, no, better still, if your mothers, your sisters, your daughters would exchange shoes for these women, I ask you, what laws would have been in place immediately? What protection would have been against these perpetrators and in this injustice? how loud would your voice would have been against trafficking? I did not come here today because I chose to. I came here because I was compelled out of what was happening in my community. Amen. As for us who are standing here, we're standing against the trafficking of children and women and children because we are filled with compassion. For us not to be filled with compassion would be asking us to have eyes and not see, and breath and not be able to breathe. As for us, we consider ourselves as a spiritual bond here in this county, and as a spiritual religion, it would be wrong for us to not have compassion and humility for these people, for these women. I plead with you to change the laws and bring about stricter laws for the necessary help of these women and these children. Thank you.